Saquon Barkley, who finished running back 6 last season, 295 rush attempts, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdowns, 57 receptions, 76 targets, 338 yards, and 0 tutties through the air. Thoughts on the Saquon?
Traditionally, Saquon has been a player that those on this show we have faded, right? It was a little lack of durability, a little lack of dependability. Obviously, the big knee injury and him coming back. Last year was kind of his reemergence party, if you will. Like, I don't want to say coming out party because he had a good fantasy season before, but definitely his reemergence. And it was good to see. And it was directly tied in with the fact that he was catching the ball again, right? Like, the 10 touchdowns helps. Don't get me wrong. Like, that is absolutely something that is needed for a workhorse running back, but it's the 57 receptions. And, you know, I think we're going to see more of that this upcoming season. The Giants wide receiver room is still less than exciting, I think is the best way to phrase that. And if Saquon can stay healthy, you're looking at, you know, a top 5, top 6 back again, because I don't think he gets – I wouldn't be surprised if it's 10 total touchdowns again, but I guess maybe along lines of 8 and 2, right? 8 rushing, 2 receiving. But I do think he can get to double-digit touchdowns again, somewhere in that neighborhood of 1,600 total yards, I think is well within, because the Giants offense has to go through him. Now, all that to be said, as of today, there is no long-term deal in place with Saquon, right? Like, they're still trying to work on a long-term deal. One thing that could hold Saquon back for fantasy purposes is if he's missing a game or 2 or 3 because he's sitting out due to a contract dispute. So it is something to be aware of, especially if you are drafting closer to the beginning of the season. You'll probably have some more information on what his plans are. Right now, it's a little bit of a gamble.
Trying to decide between a Saquon Barkley or a Bijan Robinson. Do you go with what you know, or do you go with the shiny new toy that you hope can figure it out and have the rookie year like Saquon did, right? Like, that's the game, the question, the thought process that you have to have going into the draft.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to that. And where I keep seeing him come off the board is as RB4, RB5. So it just kind of depends on where you're looking at it. But I've consistently seen him come off the board in the 12th, 13th, 14th type of pick, kind of right there, very last pick of the first round, first couple of picks of the second round. And to Kevin's point, like, you can do a lot of interesting pairings if you're picking him up as your as a running back there and pairing him either with a wide receiver or another kind of top tier running back, and you can get some pretty interesting running pretty interesting roster combinations that way. So I like it. I'm in on it. I think that Saquon's going to have a pretty decent year this year.